How's it going, guys? It's Burgas here and welcome to another Heroes of History Epic Empire video. Today we're going to talk about the accounts and one of the strangest things I watch over the accounts. One of the things in Heroes of History is that some accounts look powerful but feels unstable. The damage look fine, the heroes look strong, but the team randomly collapses once the fight gets longer. I think some of the players are start understanding in which direction I'm actually going. And most players think the problem is power level when it's actually a sustain. Now, why players keep investing wrong? Well, let's start from there. Now, most players naturally invest into the damage first because the damage feels visible. And I cannot blame them. I mean, we was all been there. We was looking for some strong heroes that are going to do some crazy. It can be AoE damage. It can be single target damage. We all put investments in this type of heroes. And back in the days, I was having an idea in my head that the more faster you're killing the enemy legions, the less you need these defensive or sustain mechanics at the end of the day. But with the levels, you start actually needing them more and more. Healing feels boring until the front line suddenly disappear. Now, the problem with optional heroes. Players call heroes optional way too early. A hero is not optional just because the punishment hasn't happened yet. Some heroes quietly hold the entire structure together, especially in the endgame sustain setup. And these optional heroes that I'm talking about is actually the healers. Now, the healers is I believe a pretty big problem in Heroes of History Epic Empire. And it's not only that we're not having that many healers. Actually, one of the most developed heroes I have is the healers, 2 healers, 1 tank, and 1 manipulator. The problem is the people are investing in the DPS setups. Now let's talk about why damage creates false confidence. Big damage creates fake confidence. The report look impressive, so players think the build is good. By build, understand the front lines, what you're building as a heroes. But uptime matter more than screenshots. A dead team with hard damage is still a dead team. This is something that over the years people learned the hard way is, yes, you can create these so-called glass cannons. For the people who don't know what is glass cannon, this is a team that is doing crazy amount of damage. So either this team is going to go out with a 3-star or is going to become 0-star, basically is going to get defeated. Now this is actually a big problem. Now, why smaller accounts feels this more? Whales can survive bad sustain longer because raw stats protect mistakes. This is right. I mean, if you have like level 180 heroes, basically investing in these heroes, it can be in form of gear, it can be in form of relics, it can be in form of awakening. All these stats stack up for the whale, but not for the normal accounts or the smaller accounts. And yeah, the whales can survive the mistakes, the normal players can't. This is why many players copy builds that only work on account powerful enough to ignore the downsides. Now, where the accounts actually start collapsing, the real problem starts when flexibility disappears. Suddenly, certain heroes need too much support, certain formations stop feeling reliable, and fixing the problem later become extremely expensive. And I start actually facing this thing slowly is especially with my tanks. Oh boy, my tanks is dying so fast, and that's why I actually level up some of those heroes. But I want to point out that Ashoka is eternalized. It's a 5-star. But if I didn't actually have him 5-star, most likely I was going to be also stop it at one stage of my progress. Now, why stable accounts feels stronger? Stable accounts usually aren't stronger. They are healthier. Sustain quietly multiplies the value of everything else in the team. That's why some weaker looking accounts outperform strong looking ones in hard content. And by hard content, I can actually point, for example, the treasure hunt. The treasure hunt, you can basically you have to make this sustain, or you have to make these teams with which teams you can go in the later stages. Right now I'm in veteran 2. Hopefully I finish it and I'm going to start jumping over the master 1 and 2. And I believe there is a people with less powerful mind that is right now fighting over the master 1. It is what it is. It's the right picking of the heroes. And I'm sure that there is accounts that are in the veteran 1 till I'm actually in veteran 2 that is having more power from me at the end of the day. This is just an example for some accounts, and why the stable accounts is not always the strongest one, but they are the healthier one. Now the real question players should ask is, players keep asking how much damage does this hero do? The better question is, what happens if this row are missing later? You have to evaluate each of these heroes, how important it is for your setup, for your marches, and etc. Obviously, I'm mostly speaking over the DPSs because, again, by starting this video, I say people are focusing over the numbers, people are focusing over the damage dealers, and this is actually an issue because the healers and the tanks are put it aside, and you're going to need healers and tanks basically in any content in Heroes of History Epic Empire. You're going to need a Shocker for his fast healing, 5.6 initial charge, 7.4 regular charge. You're going to need Suit for this extra charge that she's giving for 1.6 seconds, also pretty decent healing. You're going to need a Caesar for his 3 seconds invisibility. You're going to need, for example, King Minos for his shield and taunting. You're going to need a lot of heroes that are far from being DPS 1. That's why you have to be extremely careful, and you have to ask the right question. Am I going to actually need this hero? Where I'm going to use this hero? What happens if this row is missing later? Because most progression mistakes don't feel dangerous when you make them. They feel efficient until the account suddenly runs out of option. And flexibility, this is the things that I want to point in this video. Account flexibility and a future development of your account. So yeah guys, this will be for this video. We hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, see you in the next one. Bye.